Adam Christ from MyMMANews.com being joined by Louis Bruton. He is set to fight Gavin McCabe. It's going down at Stellar Fights 46 at the Delaware State Fairgrounds this weekend, August 28th. And I got to admit, I'm really looking forward to this one. I had the pleasure of meeting my man Louis last month after he had a fantastic performance at Fight World. And he just looked absolutely fantastic. And he got the W, and it was back and forth, and it was a decision win, and he is back now just a month after that win to get right back in the cage. Louis, how's it going, my man?
It's going well. It's going well, man. I feel good. And that, obviously, and stuff, the fight's coming up in a couple of days, and that, so we're just doing weight cut at the moment, and that, so, but everything's falling into place, and so I feel pretty positive about things. Looking
good. So we were talking a little bit before, and I wanted to ask, man, coming off of such an incredible performance last month against Spanicus, your decision win, any injuries coming out of that fight? Obviously, I know you don't want to disclose too much, but I mean, you obviously want to stay active. You want to keep this ball rolling, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one, there's a couple of reasons why I want to keep some momentum going and why it was I'm trying to compete as often as possible, because I've actually got another fight October 31st. It's a Muay Thai fight for GFC, and so I've kind of competed each month so far since we've been able to, once we were let out after COVID. But one of the reasons for that, I'm 29. And that and stuff, we've got a bit of a shorter window. I'm not one of these 19-year-old lads that has just walked in the gym and has got time and that, and so it's I've been doing kickboxing for 10 years. Started off recreationally and just worked my way up, but and it's just I've got to get that momentum going and use it right now whilst I've got that window of time to see how far I can take this. And then also as well, just with the injury stuff, I didn't get anything from that fight, to be honest. And that, and I think as well, I stay pretty injury free because of a lot of the strength and conditioning that I do, and so my body's got quite a lot of resilience to it, and so I kind of handle the training loads pretty well in that regard. And so now I feel pretty good about things.
Good. So for fans that can't notice, obviously, my man Louis here is from the UK, and he comes over here to train out of Crazy 88 with Matt Semmelsberger, JJ, Sebastian, Matt Hicks, and John Del Bruce. So many more. It's such a great gym. But my question is, and this is probably my wife's favorite love story ever. So my question is, what brings you over here to the US?
So I'll give you the abridged version. So, one of it would be a Netflix series by the time. But, basically, when I was 16, my wife was actually on a high school trip going from London to Scotland, and they were stopping at a bunch of different hotels along the way. But the one hotel that they stayed at was where my high school prom was, and I got talking to Rachel and her friends, and so we kind of we pulled an all-nighter, all of our friends together, basically just talking and just giving it the beans, basically, and that. And then we from there, we realised we liked each other. We found out on this was back in the day of MySpace. And so, I didn't even have a MySpace. I created a profile just so I could talk to her, actually. And that, I was going to my mates, how do you do this? And that, but from there, we kept talking online. And I actually flew over for her prom a year later. So I, got to, got to go to an American prom, and that, which was interesting. And then from there, and so it's just we've been together now, because that was 2008, so we've been together 13 years, since we met, and just along that, right? Rachel's done study abroad over in England. I used to spend my holidays here, and that so she completed her master's degree in England. So we got to spend some time together, but a lot of it was long distance. We probably spent more time apart than we have actually together, and so but it's, I moved here. It got to the point where, once I graduated university and that, I was able to shift my attention to obviously moving to the States so we could be together and thrive. but we so 3 years ago I moved here, and I got my green card just before COVID hit, and that. So yeah, we're here, and she hasn't sent me back yet. She has told me though, if I lose my accent, she's sending me home to get factory reset. So she's like, that ain't what I ordered.
Yeah, good luck trying to top that love story, people, because it's just not going to happen. But getting into the fight itself. So again, like I said, what brought you over here was Rachel. Now you're training with the likes of Semmelsberger. I went through the list, JJ, Sebastian Hicks. What was it in Crazy 88? Because I knew you went through a couple of gyms, but what was it in Crazy 88 that you found in them?
It felt professional. Like when I walked in there and that, like, so it's very structured. And that he can, and it's not, for want of a better way of putting it, it's not a meathead gym. Like you walk into some gyms and instantly you got people eyeing you up and that and stuff. And like, and then when you're sparring, you got someone that's trying to take your head off. Now, whereas like, I went to Crazy 88, and there wasn't any of that. It was very, like I say, systematized, structured, and stuff like, this is what you do and this is why, and that they can, and there's a higher standard of like how we have to like act and stuff. You have to hold yourself to certain standards and stuff. It's just like, because you're representing, there's a lot of kids that go to the gym, so we have to like, you know, like set an example. And I kind of liked that. I liked the way it all worked and stuff, and it felt like very grown. It was like, no, these guys are like, it's not just, oh, we're going to get some guys like good, we're tough or whatever, let's see if we can do this. This is, no, we know we're going to do this and we're going to do it properly and stuff. And they've already improved it with their jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that, like, as a jiu-jitsu school, it's the best in Maryland. Like, yeah. It's, you know, by a long shot. But it's, yeah. But like the first time I actually went there was about 6 years ago. And that was when I was visiting Rachel. Mm-hmm. And that, so I actually, the one time, they've got a story, like Keith and Julius laugh about this, because I used to cycle 10 miles from Rachel's apartment while she was at work. I'd cycle 10 miles to Crazy 88 and then do the workouts. And so, like, just as someone that was going to be there for like a month. And so do the workout, and I'd stay there for like 3 classes. And that, like, and do a bit of sparring, and then my wife would either be able to come and pick me up, or I'd cycle back. But they, Master Julius and Keatley would say, "Who's this? There's this British guy that's coming in, and he looks like he comes from like 10th Planet and that and stuff, because of like the Lycra stuff I was wearing for like the bikes and that." But apparently they still remember that. So going to the gym, I'd been there previously, so it was always in my mind, I want to go back there, and I'm glad that I did.
So it makes me curious, man, with you biking those 10 miles to Crazy 88 and after such a vigorous workout, because I know those guys and I know what they put their guys through. When you would have to bicycle back to the apartment, how much slower was that ride back?
Oh yeah, it's really slow, especially if you've eaten a few leg kicks and that, and you're pedaling and you're like, oh my god. And so, like, and then you're like, but as you're cycling home, you got a long way home to think, oh, this is why you check. This is why you check. This is why you check kicks.
I love it. So let's get into the fight, man. Gavin McCabe. We live in a world of social media. I know he's making his debut. So what do you know about him as an opponent?
Not much, to be honest. And that he, and from my understanding, he's a jiu-jitsu player. And so, like, he's from Pennsylvania. So, like, I'm of the assumption that if you're from Pennsylvania, you've wrestled. And that he can. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we're looking at a bit of a grappler going on here. And that, like, the gym that he's from, like, does Muay Thai, but it's not known for their Muay Thai. It's more known for, like, jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And so, like, and obviously because he's making his debut as well, it's not like, there's not much out there. Of the, like, and so, but my assumption is that he'd be like aggressive and that, and like, and really push for a takedown.
Do you feel that your experience will play a huge factor in the fight?
Yeah, actually, it's because, like, so in the last fight was actually the calmest I'd ever felt. And
you looked very calm.
yeah, it was new to me, whatever, and so I felt real confident, like in terms of like it was. So I had to wait 3 years. There was a 3 year layoff period between my MMA fights, and that like because I lost the first two, and that like and then moving to America, I had to get my green card away. So it took a while in COVID, but going in there and that, and especially after spending some good time at 88 and just going through those systems and trusting the training, honestly, I stood there with like Sebastian and Hicks, and I felt pretty good. Like I was just like, oh, cool, this is happening and stuff. Watch this, lads, and stuff. Like we're gonna do this.
And not for nothing, I'm not trying to cut you off, but it was a very Spanicus pro crowd. He had a lot of people cheering him on. So, I mean, you had a lot of people cheering against you, and you performed so calm. So it was a very impressive win. I must say.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I said after the fight, man, and again, we spent some time after the fight, good time. But so I want to ask you. You say that you think it's going to be more of a grappling fight. So what do you think? What tools do you think that you possess over him that you think make him beatable?
So if you actually watch my last fight, you wouldn't like. I'm not actually a grappler. So if I do grapple, I learn that stuff because you have to be well rounded. But my main thing is I'm a striker. And I'm very good at maintaining distance
and knees.
Yeah, and like and I've got some sneaky Muay Thai knees. I'm getting better at that. Like like Sebastian's good at it and stuff, and it's been my thing. I want to get good in the clinch. I want to be real dangerous in the clinch, and it's happening and stuff. And it's like and so my striking as well. I've got a lot of pressure with it, and also. I got the cardio to back it, and that like, and so in our sparring rounds, and so like, it's never a question about like my conditioning and stuff. It's more about learning the skills because I've got the conditioning to pull it off, and that, and so it's like there's a lot of volume. There's still a lot of power because of obviously the strength and conditioning, and that, and then there's also that 10 years of experience of kickboxing, and so now it's all about like taking it from the gym training area and applying it in a competitive environment and that, and like, and I'm excited to see if I can do that basically. So like, if I can go out there and put my striking on display and that, and yeah.
And like you said, you have the cardio to back it. For those that don't know, your full-time job is you're a professional physical trainer, and right? Am I getting that correct? Physical trainer as well as
I'm a strength and
conditioning coach. Yep.
There we go. I've got a degree in sports therapy, so I'm pretty good with athletic injuries.
Right. So hence why you have the cardio gas tank for days. But you said with the kickboxing pedigree as well. How many kickboxing bouts or experience over in England do you have? How much do you have?
So I was at like on a local level, like like inter club level. And that I've probably had, like in the clubs, you call them smokers here, if you're not familiar with it, that term.
Yeah.
15 to 20
of
them. And that stuff, like, and that includes, like, I did a sport karate, like tournaments and that. Like, there's actually a video of that on YouTube and stuff. I was 2 months in, and like, we went to this school. And I paid my dues, and they said, "Oh, okay, cool. Step on the scale. What experience level are you?" And I'm like 145, and that. And my experience level was less than 3 months. And they said, "Oh, there's no one in your division or whatever, but you can move up." And they put me up against this like big, tall, lanky guy with tattoos that was a brown belt instructor at some other school. The only reason it's on video is because my friend was like, "Oh, Lewis is about to get his ass kicked," and got it on video.
Some friends.
yeah. It's like, but that's on YouTube actually. So
that's funny. So, in your perspective, how do you think that this fight goes?
My goal is like come out, be as calm and feel confident like I did last time, and maintain a distance between him, and so a lot of straight shots, and so it's just like getting out, whatever, sticking and moving, and like, and I'm planning on to put on a bit of a clinic with it and stuff. That's what I'm hoping to be able to do. I really want to show off my striking. I was able to show off my grappling in the last one. Now I want to show the striking and just like show that I'm a threat.
So can I get a bold prediction out of you? I mean, you're saying striking, so I'm assuming you plan on striking. I mean, you try and get in the stoppage via strikes.
Yeah, and so, but like, yeah, like, but you can't push for anything ever and stuff. You push to it and stuff. You get blindsided by stuff and that. You got to let the techniques work. Let the strikes do their job. You try and force stuff, it doesn't come off cleanly, and that you can. That's what I've found. Like when I've actually in fights where I've hurt people and stuff, like it was always the shots that I didn't think I threw that hard. And,
that's what they always say. It's the shot that you don't feel is the one that hurts them.
Yeah. It must be something like you're just so relaxed when you throw it or something. And so there's definitely a science to it.
Can I get a bold round out of you when you're looking to get it done? 1, 2, 3?
I reckon third round.
Third round,
he starts getting tired over and that's when the striking really works, and I'm able to close that distance and start landing some combinations.
I like it. I like it. All right, man. Well, now is the time. I want to let you get the floor to plug all of your coaches, teams, sponsors, social media, all 28.3 thousand of them. My man, unprofessional athlete over here, he has got a social media like you couldn't fathom. So anyway, I just said your social media, but anyway, floor's yours, Lewis.
Thank you. So first of all, I want to obviously big up like Master Julius and Coach Sebastian. Obviously, all my training partners like Matt Semmelsberger, who's fighting the UFC UFC 266, Volkanovski Ortega. So everyone needs to tune in on that and stuff because this is going to be big. And obviously, big up to Hicks and Bubba and my man Mahoney, Khalil, Fahad. A lot of people to list, man, and stuff. Everyone helps out down there, and so and obviously, if you're interested in the training, if you're in the area, check out Axis Sports Performance, and that's where I'll work and something, so we can set up some training that way. Or if you're not in the area, and so check out my Instagram because I share a lot of information on there and stuff like that could be applicable to this sport and other sports as well. And don't be afraid to DM me about that either.
All right, man. Well, Lewis, I really appreciate your time. I'm really looking forward to this fight, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk tonight, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you too.